Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar mini-series Families for the Future. Today we have the last of our 3 short films available for you this week. There will be an opportunity on Friday the 19th of June at 10 a.m. to discuss everything you've been watching in a live video forum hosted by Hope for the Future. Today's film focuses on the theme of anchoring climate action in empathy. Hope you enjoy.
Hi there, my name is Clover Hogan. I'm a 20-year-old climate activist and the founder of Force for Nature.
Hello, I'm Olivia Blake. I'm Member of Parliament for Sheffield Hallam.
Hi, I'm James. I've got a young toddler who's 3.
My name's Maya and I'm an organiser with a group called Mothers Rise Up.
Hello, my name is Ruth and I'm a parent to 2 children who are in their early 20s.
My name is Alexander Stafford. I'm the Conservative MP for Rother Valley, and I'm passionate about talking about climate change.
My name is Harini Iyengar. I'm the lone parent of 3 children. I'm an activist, election candidate, and elected member of policy committee at the Women's Equality Party. What scares me the most about climate change is politicians talking on, just talking, while climate change is happening around us. I can see a real deterioration in the natural world since I was a child.
So when I was 16 at COP21, the annual climate meeting, I was overwhelmed with the bureaucracy of this political process, with the bureaucracy of this kind of climate meeting, and how people were letting vested interests and politics get in the way of what was so obvious to the young activists there, which was that we needed change that was transformational and change that was radical.
I think climate change scares me because it seems to be quite a fundamental part of capitalism as it is now, and economic growth seems to require climate change.
I felt so overwhelmed and powerless that I realized the greatest threat we face wasn't in fact the climate crisis, but our feeling of powerlessness in the face of it. For some time, we've had the resources and man and woman power and money to be able to solve the climate crisis, but why haven't we?
My concern about climate change began when I studied geography in the late 1980s, when we already understood the science. And my response to this until probably about 5 years ago was about living lightly on the planet, eating vegetarian food, local, organic, fair trade and animal friendly, think and live in a sustainable way. But also I think to get involved in helping to challenge the status quo and systemic injustices that perpetuate the climate crisis. For me, that meant getting involved in the local Green Party, to start playing my part in campaigning and raising the issues of climate change when I could. And then Helena went off to study geography as well at uni and came home talking about her deep concern about the climate crisis. And these conversations nudged us as parents to take stock again of our lifestyle and whether there were things we needed to do better.
Because we haven't had the tenacity, we haven't had the uncompromising resolve, we haven't had enough people stepping up, and so often that comes from that same sense of powerlessness.
But also I think to get involved in helping to challenge the status quo and systemic injustices that perpetuate the climate crisis. For me, that meant getting involved in the local Green Party, and last year was elected to represent my ward, playing my part in campaigning and raising the issues of climate change when I could.
Everyone has a voice and there's so many different ways to get involved. You don't need to be out on the streets if that doesn't feel right for you. You can write to your MP, you can write to your local councillor, and just really simply you can talk to other parents.
In the last year, I found strength and hope by working collaboratively with other organisations. Working collaboratively and respectfully across party political divisions and across the divisions that people see between the political sector, the public sector, the private sector and the charitable sector. It gives me hope that maybe we can achieve action on climate change, probably not in my lifetime, but at least in my children's lifetime.
Hope for the Future is a charity that works to equip individuals, communities, groups at a community level with the skills they need to engage with their MPs on climate change. We want to engage with as many people as possible so they can get their voices heard. We don't want the climate change movement to be this echo chamber where it's just people within Westminster and just people who are very heavily involved with the climate movement who get their voices heard. We want people in their local communities and constituencies be able to talk to their local representatives about the issues that matter to them. And for us, transitioning to net zero by 2050 is fundamentally about decisions that are made on the local level. So that constituent engagement with MPs is vitally important in order to be able to do that. It's all about infrastructure. A lot of the decisions of which are made at local level, whether it's public transport, roads, heating, to do with your housing efficiency and all of those things. And we think that this is a really powerful tool. MPs love to hear from their constituents. They want a constituency mandate to be able to take action. And so you're empowering MPs by going to see them. It's a symbiotic relationship. They want to hear from you.
I think it's the most rewarding part of the job, really, is being able to represent my constituents and take up issues and help resolve them on their behalf. So we've managed to help thousands of people already since I was elected. It's been a bit of a strange time with coronavirus, but it's been really the most rewarding part of the job is getting an email back off someone or having a conversation with someone and then being really thankful for you being able to sort something out.
Do I get contacted about climate change as MP? Yes, the whole time. And it's from many different parts of society. Sometimes it's church groups, sometimes it's schools, sometimes it's residents who've seen the issue of flooding, such as around Wiston, and sometimes just people who want to talk about these issues going forward. The most wonderful part of being an MP, getting to speak to so many interesting and wonderful people to understand their unique points of view on life. I represent about 100,000 people, and everyone has different views and values and opinions. So making sure I listen to all those views and values and represent them.
For us to achieve action on climate change, we have to work with people from different socioeconomic backgrounds in different situations, and people need to be sensitive that other people may not have the same ability to spend time and money on the campaign, and we need to find inclusive ways of working together.
The Young Families Project is kind of like the bread and butter of that, because a lot of young parents and young families don't have the time or capacity necessarily to be attending protests in London or to be kind of going to campaign groups every evening. But what they can do is go and see their MP in a surgery and discuss with them, why they think that a more efficient public transport would be better, why they're concerned about air pollution in the area, why they're worried about their property being flooded, all of these things, because they're concerned about their children's future.
I think it's really important that MPs make space for communities to come together and actually have the conversations in a way that's really impactful. Back in February, that seems a lifetime ago now, I met with families with young children as part of the Families for the Future project. And it was good to have people there knowing that they were going to have their children with them and being able to hear their concerns.
With this particular MP, I didn't feel like there was a big disparity and the setting was quite relaxed, so it felt informal enough while still being like a proper meeting.
Lots of people feel intimidated when they need to go and see their MP, but it shouldn't be like that, and we can support you in having that engagement.
It doesn't have to be a big scary thing. Yeah, she was still kind of evasive or wanted to make things go her own way in some lines of conversation, so it's quite interesting having a bit of training helping us anticipate what that might be like and maybe how to get it back on track to what you want to talk about.
We can provide training, we can provide advice on how to do that. If you're limited in time, we can provide research so that you're prepared to go and see your MP, and we can do research on your local area or legislation that's passing through Parliament, so you can go and talk to your MP and you can feel prepared and confident.
One of the things I wanted to know about was how you can have a sort of ongoing dialogue with your MP, or what you can, the best channels to use to be able to talk to your MP, and that was quite useful. Was that in the end she was just saying that it's quite nice just to get emails and letters and things that are quite simple. And even if it's something you think she already is pretty keen on addressing or something that is a hot topic for her, she needs those letters to be able to act on it. I suppose each constituency's MP might be quite different, but they are there for you to use, and they should be available for you. And it can just be an ongoing thing. It doesn't have to be perfect first time. You can keep keep knocking on the door, keep trying to see if they're following up on what you're interested in.
If we're going to challenge that short-sightedness that clouds much of our politics, we need politicians to be asking questions and making sure that they're listening to their communities before we take every decision, and before we take votes in Parliament on it. And I think the key question is, what kind of world will this decision create? Because there are unforeseen consequences in the decisions we take.
I've recently become a parent to my young daughter. And although that hasn't changed my views on climate change, I've always been passionate about this issue, it has put in perspective that it's so important to make sure the world we pass on is good for her, and that when her and her children will have a green and pleasant land to live in, and that is an important role as an MP.
We get asked a lot is, what gives you hope? How do you keep up the hope? I just see it in terms of being determined and not having a choice. We have to keep fighting for our kids in any way we can, and within our own kind of means and power and resources.
And the big aha, I suppose, for me is realizing not just that the climate crisis is the greatest threat we face, but also one of the biggest opportunities to rethink every part of how we live and breathe and exist in the 21st century. And every single one is needed to create the mobilization across government, society, and business to really take radical action on this issue.
Get active about it. Both lobby the government, lobby your members of parliament, speak to your councillors. I believe if you're climate positive, we have the solutions. And not only that, we can create a better world